Hello, this is Sue from dragoncreations.co.uk, and I'm going to show you how to dust the dragon for the fire plaque that we're doing. So I have Let's Resin chameleon powders, and I have magenta, gold, champagne and olive, and also this is just a generic pack off Amazon that I've got here, and out of that pack I'm going to be using purple, blue, red, orange, red, orange, yellow, and flashing brown, red, purple. Okay, and I like to use these on my dragon because it's easier to keep the lines. So first of all, I need the gold, and the first thing that I do are the lines on his body. So don't need too much on his stick, and you just go onto the lines. They're like ribs, I suppose. So this may take me a while, so you might want to fast forward until I get to the next colour. So I'm just going to put this gently. I have sprayed this with mould release as well, which does help the chameleon powders stick. Just going onto his ribs. So the idea is I'm going to try and make the dragon reddish with flashes of gold. So these are the rib lines that are sort of slightly raised in the mould. And this mould I just got off Amazon, but I do use this mould a lot because it's a dragon, and as you may have gathered by the name of the channel, I like dragons. I'm just highlighting it. And I always start on his ribs, because when I bang this off over the bin, just these little lines will be highlighted, even though it looks like it's everywhere. I'm only actually pressing it onto the lines. Make sure you go up the sides as well. Turn around slightly so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going up the ribs. not putting too much on my little applicator. Otherwise, chameleon powders tend to go everywhere. Okay, so that's his ribs. Oh, his. There must be ribs, I think. And the other thing is to turn it round from every angle, because there might be a bit you missed. Okay, so that's his ribs. I think they're ribs. I'll go for ribs. That's his ribs done. Now what I'm going to do is, I should have got some out ready actually to show you, with a micro brush, is I'm going to highlight his little spines that go into his tail as well with the same colour. So this is the gold, yes, I think it's the gold. And I will be doing all of these spines here as well. But I'm just doing this with a micro brush so that I can get right in there. These are very handy, these little things. Just buy them off Amazon for, you can get about 100 or 200 in a pack. So make sure you get right in the dent. I'm just highlighting the bits in his tail, and now I will just draw, there's a dent in the mould there that you can just draw a little line with your micro powders. Your chameleon powders, just to highlight that bit of his tail. And then I will take that all the way up to the tip, and then just bring it down the tip slightly. Okay, so that's his tail and those dents done. Now I've got to colour all of these in, so I will do these with a micro brush as well, and then I'll swap over to my applicator in a minute. Just want to do these three with this. Make sure again you get up the sides. Right the way up to the top. Right, so that's his tail done. So I've done his spines there. Now, oh, that's that brush gone. I'll get another one. Make sure, as I say, you get the sides. Otherwise, when you put your filling colour in, it will just be that colour. So, I'm going to do all these spines. So I'll do them first. Can't do it while I'm holding it. There. I mean, if you find this easier with a brush, do it with a brush. Do it however you feel comfortable, so long as you're enjoying it. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get right on the edges and all the way up. sure you get in the corners as well. I need to put more powder on, obviously. There we go. Right in the corners. Because we don't want our backing colour to come through. We want him to be nice and shiny and colour changing. There we go, I just wasn't putting enough on. Okay, and don't forget to highlight these bits here. Just give them a brush over. And then turn him round and we'll carry on going. And don't worry too much if you get powder on a place where you don't really want it to be. You can just wipe it off with a damp cloth or a baby wipe, or spray a little bit of alcohol, you know I can't say that word, propyl alcohol onto a bit of kitchen roll and wipe it off. And if you get to a bit where you can't get your micro powder to, your chameleon powder to stick, wipe it with alcohol and a cotton bud, and then put some mould release back on it, and you should find it should stick after that. It just means, for whatever reason, that bit of the mould might have got greasy. I'm trying to hold him so you can see what I'm doing. Right in the corners. Okay, I'm just going to check to make sure I've got all those corners. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock you there. Just put a bit more powder on to make sure. Right, so that's that bit done. Now we'll move on to this bit. Right in the corner. As I say, you may find this easier with a brush, but these particular parts, I've made so many of these dragons, I just find to do an applicator easier. Okay, right in the corner. Right, so that's those bits done. Now I will move on to his head. And he's got spines here, and then these are horns and an ear. So I shall do his spines here. This is still the same colour, this is the gold. very hard to do and hold at the same time so you can see, but we shall get there. Right, so this is his last spine, or spiky spine bit. And then what I will, excuse me, what I also will do is the tips of his claws, of his wings, sorry. He's got like little clawy bits on the top tips of his wings. And I will do them in the same colour. Just open it up slightly like that. Get right in there. Make sure you go up the sides, and that's it. Right, so that's our gold. I'll put the lid back on that, but I will probably come back in the gold and do his face in a minute. Right, I'll just go and give this a bang off. There, so I've just, actually I used an air duster, I cheated. So I've just air dusted all of that off so we can see his spines there. I missed a little bit there, so there, yep, I'm quite happy with that. Right, so our dragon, we want him to be red. So we've got magenta and reddish brown. Oh, what colour is this one? Let's have a look at this one. Oh, that's an interesting lid. I think I'll have to take that off actually. That looks very similar to magenta. No, maybe the magenta's a little bit brighter. I find the magenta to be quite purpley red, and this says it's purple, blue, red, orange. I might go in with the brown one. This is flashing brown, red, purple. Let's have a look at this one. Take this lid thing off. Oh, that's an interesting colour. Right. What to do? What to do? Right, I know what I'm going to do. Red, orange, yellow. Oh, these lids. Red, orange, yellow. Right, okay. This one I'm going to use a brush for because there's a lot, and I'm going in here with it. Am I? Yes. Yes, I'm going in there with it. Oh yes, I quite like that actually. So this one was red, orange, yellow. That's the thing, you don't know what your colours are until you've really used them, and I haven't used these colours. I was waiting to get them, and I specifically went for a set that had lots of reds in. So where the hatching pattern is where I'm putting this red, orange, yellow colour. Just doing it with a brush because it'll be quicker and easier. There's a bit of gold there I've missed. Did I put the lid back on gold? Yes, I did. For a minute there I thought I'd knocked my gold on the floor. So before I go in with that, I'll just put this gold in where I've spotted. Where was it? There. I had a panic then. Right, let's get back to this one. And don't forget to go up your sides. So apply it quite liberally. Make sure you get right in that hatching and go up your sides. I'm going to take it into his tail as well. And the other thing I'm going to do is he's got like elbows or bits that go into his wings, and I'm just going to lightly, very, very lightly, highlight those. So I'm not going to dip my brush in, I might take some off there. Just want to ever slightly highlight his elbows. Right, okay, so that's that colour. And I think I'm going to do his main body magenta. So again, with a brush, just going to lightly dust that magenta. Just to give him a little bit of pink. Actually, this might be a girl dragon, now that I've put pink in. Again, don't forget to go up the sides. Okay, so that's the body done. So far I've only used 3 colours. I'm just going to go and blow this out. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Alright, okay. Now the head, before I do the wings. Right. Well, we've got to put some gold in, so with a micro brush, I think I will do this horn gold. Again, push it right the way open so you can get right in there. And then I think, which one was it? I think I'll go in with magenta for his horns. it right the way up. There we go. I think I'll put a little bit of magenta on his cheeks as well, just to highlight them. Oops. I'm going to give him a gold eye, or her, or them. So I've got a gold eye. I think I'm going to go for the gold horn here actually, because the rest of the face I'm going to put in that red, orangey, yellow colour. So that's his eye. Lips, what colour lips? We'll go for gold, I think. And a gold nostril. Just a little tiny bit of gold on there. Right. And then I will go in with this one again and colour the rest of it. I think I might make that gold actually. There. Right, okay, let's go in with this reddish colour again and then just dust the rest of him. Or him, them, they, whatever you want to be, dragon. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So there's a few distinctive colours in there, and then we've got the main colour in there. Right, okay, let's move on to the wings. Now, excuse me, I've gone croaky again. For the wings, because we've got spines, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my brush into my magenta, and then I'm going to really knock it off, and then just lightly, very lightly dust those spines in the magenta, just to give it a bit of bling. Again, I'm going to dip my brush in and basically totally knock it all off again, and then very lightly dip those, brush those spines. So dip it in and knock it all off, and then just feather touch, dip it in, knock it all off, and feather touch with your brush like that. Because we're going to blend this. Oh, the other thing I am going to do is put a little bit of magenta right at the bottom of his tips of his wings, of their wings. Just a little tiny bit, not too much. Okay, so that's that. Then with the same brush, I'm going to dip it in the gold, again knock it all off, and I just go over the same places where I've put the magenta. So, blingy wings. So those two colours will sort of blend together. So just over the places where we've just been, just adding a little bit of gold. Just blending it in. Just a little bit bling. There. And also, turn this round with my magenta, with my micro brush. It's got little spines here, so I'm going to paint them magenta as well, just to break up the claws on the edges of his wings, or her wings. Again, making sure I got the sides. There we go. So it just breaks up that bit of wing there. And then finally, I will go in with our body colour with our brush, and I shall go all over the wing. So just slap it on basically. Go over where you put the gold and the magenta, because if you've mixed any, it will blend in. If you've missed any, it will blend in nicely. Hopefully we should have sort of a pinky coppery dragon at the end of this. And the reason I've used these colours is I am trying to do a fire dragon, so let's go with my ice dragon. So just spread it all out, make sure it's all covered. Okay, that's that wing done. Turn them round so I can show you doing the other wing. Oh, there we go. So just quite a bit. Make sure you go up the sides. As I say, going through all the nooks and crannies, because if there's anywhere you've missed with your main colours that you were using, this will cover up. There we go. So that is our dragon dusted. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pause you, and I will go and blow this out and clean off my edges, and I will also clean off the tongue here, because there's a little tongue here and I don't want that to be coloured. I'm going to let that be the same colour as the backing colour. So I'll wipe that out there. So there we go. That is our dragon dusted. So I will just put you on pause and I will go and clean up my mould and we shall come back together. Right, I'm back. I've cleaned up my dragon. I've taken the mica, the chameleon powder out of his tongue and his eye. And I have just mixed up 250 grams of resin, which is 131 of A and 119 of B. Mine's a 1-to-1 resin. And I have added, now, before it went in my other videos, I used a colour called Scarlet Red. Can't get that colour anymore, they don't make it. So I've been looking for a new red. and I have found one. It is the same colour as Scarlet Red, and it's by Craft Geek, and it's beautiful. And I added 2 heaped spoons of mica powder. So that is my new red by Craft Geek, but there's no name on it. It doesn't say what colour it is, and when I ordered it off Amazon it just said bright red. So that is the same colour as Scarlet Red. So that's what I've mixed up with 2 heap spoons, and that was 250 grams, 131 of A, 119 of B, and I'm just going to pour it in, and I'm going to pour it in slowly. I'm going to start in the tail into those little divots, or the little spines in his tail, because that's where most of your bubbles are going to collect. There, so just gently in his tail, and then I'll work around his body. So basically start in the lowest part of your mould, and if you do that you shouldn't really get any bubbles, hopefully, in your finished piece. And if you take your time when you're pouring as well. When I get to his head, I'm just going to pour on the corner and let the resin find its way. Hopefully you can see that. My hand's probably right in the way. Move my hand over here. I'm using my stick to steady my cup. So I'm just going to pour on that corner of the mould there and let the resin find its way. And once all those little nooks and crannies in his head are full, I shall leave that to settle, and I shall just go into his elbows and the little parts of his wings. Do the same this side. So basically the lowest part of your mould is where you really want to start. And anywhere that you might have had problems with it gathering bubbles before. So his tail seems to have settled down now, so I shall go back into his tail. Doesn't want to pour now, look, it's because I've stopped pouring. There, I'll take my stick out for a moment. So just take your time. And this mould full takes 260, but I've only filled it, made up 250. Because we're going to stick him on a plaque, or her, or them, onto a plaque. And then just fill the rest of them up, making sure you get into your spines. And go into your wing tips as well, and then come up and get into your horns. Another wing tip, and then just do a general pour. I'm just going to scrape my cup a little bit because he's a bit drippy. Also, I'll just put my spatula down for the minute. There we go. So just gently pour, take your time, making sure you've got all your edges. Make sure all your spiky bits are full. And just use it all up. As I say, this mould takes 260 easily. I mean, you could push it if you wanted to dome it slightly to 270, but because I'm going to mount him, I want him to be quite flat on the back, so I've only put 250 in. And I haven't put black in, which you normally do with chameleon powders. I've gone for red because it's going to be a fire dragon, so I'd like the red to show through slightly. And also red's quite a dark colour, so it should also work with the chameleon powders quite well. Okay, and then you just scrape out. Right, I'm just going to go off camera for a minute and give this a really good scrape. We all recognise that noise. And I do use silicone cups as well, but because I'm doing so many projects at the same time and I'm using so many different colours, it's not feasible for me to have about 20 silicone cups on the go. So I found some cheap paper cups which are recyclable. There we go. Every last drop you can get out. That's it. Just give my sticky fingers a wipe. And then I will go in and debubble. So just take your time. Don't leave your lighter on your silicone for too long, otherwise that can cause it to fuse to the resin. And as I always say, please don't use a torch. People get away with it, but you may not, and you'll be devastated if you've gone to all this time and effort to make something so pretty and then you ruin your mould afterwards. So for the sake of a few minutes of going over it with a lighter, you could save yourself, I think this was £20 this mould. And in this day and age, £20 is quite a lot. So just go over it with a lighter. Doesn't take long, does the same job. Oh, flamethrower. There we go. Oh, knocking things over. And what I'll do is I'll leave that to set overnight, and then we shall demold together, and hopefully we'll have a nice fire dragon that we can mount on our piece that we're doing at the same time. So I shall see you at the demold. Bye. Right, it's all set. So here we go. Nice easy dismold. That's good, there's not much mica left on that at all. So I'll give that a clean with some warm soapy water later. Right, are we ready? Let's do it this way up so we can get a full picture of him. Oh, that's come out really well. Yes, we've got a little bit of purple, the gold and the red brown, and we're having the red backing. I would definitely say that is a fire dragon. What do you think? Does that look like a fire dragon? Yes, I'm quite sure that's a fire dragon. Okay, I shall see you when we mount them. Bye.